Greetings, family. This is Cassandra Floyd, also known as the Daughter of the Fates, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. It is Friday, October 25th, and I, as many of you may have seen already, am going to do a series of lives today. So I have this one that is happening at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I have another scheduled at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then I have one scheduled tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This one, I am going to ambitiously attempt to make this short because this is just updates since I've been offline since I think last Friday, maybe. And then the one at 4 is going to be a continued read of Beyond God the Father and Toward a Philosophy of Women's Liberation by Mary Daly. So I'm going to keep that at an hour. And then tonight is going to be a long one and a doozy. Greetings, Solis Love. How you doing? Oh, and so tonight is going to be a doozy, and it's called "Women of Color Stop Casting Spells on Your Daughters." Greetings, Tajali. How y'all doing? Golden Amethyst 999, Claudia Ankra, everybody all jolly on the spot. Yeah. So tonight is going to be a deep one. It's going to be called "Women of Color Stop Casting Spells on Your Daughters." Most of the time, these ideas that I come up with for lives don't come out of nowhere. They don't come from out of nowhere. I know a lot of y'all may have criticisms. Pretty Nikki. Yes. Greetings, everyone. Yeah, 99.9% of the time, these topics don't come out of nowhere. I know that I still owe you guys one from Saturday because I did not do a Saturday live called The Reclamation of What is Ours. That's still in the works. I saw the topic for the next year. Okay. Let's see. Hold on just a second. Yes, I could not remember that to save my life. Okay. So yes, so I've been in here. It's been a long week. I have done a lot. I had 2 events that I had to set up on Saturday. I had one event that I had to set up on Saturday and a commitment to fulfill. Monday is always a long day because it's all day school. Tuesday something. It's just been a long week. And so greetings, everyone. 7 channels with Yin, Sage, Paige, Pretty Nikki, everybody in the house. So like I said, I'm going to try to keep this one relatively short. Relatively short typically for me is an hour if we're lucky. Okay. But I'm going to try to keep it relatively short because really it is just updates about what has happened over the last 2 weeks. The last kind of guidance video, if you will, that I did was on the full moon in Aries. So I did, I think 2 video, maybe, I don't remember, child. Time just be like whoosh, flying by. But anyway, I do remember telling you on that full moon, or at least in preparation for it, not the full moon. It was Jupiter stationing retrograde in Gemini, and then Pluto stationing direct, right? And I remember, I don't know if y'all remember me telling you that one of the big things across the board, all the different astrologers that I've been listening to had all been saying was that from the 7th to the 11th was a prime opportunity to play the lottery. Remember me saying that the full moon was going to have an impact on that, and y'all needed to find a way to like get some chunky money. That was the original thing, was about chunky money that you do not earn, wealth that you do not earn, that comes to you, that comes your way. So play the lottery, or it might be an inheritance because of the other planets in play. Several of the astrologers were saying that it could be a male family member, an older, like a father archetypal family member who leaves you some money, an inheritance or whatever. This is chunky money. This is money that you don't have to work for, that's coming to you, right? So that's the first update I want to give to you, is my chunky money update, right? So I had a chunky money update. And y'all can share with me if you have had any. So over the last 2 weeks, 2 weeks, over the last 2 weeks, have you had a chunky money experience, right? Now, for me, chunky money isn't just money, but I had a money thing, but it's about wealth, like wealth comes to you, right? Things come to you. So let me tell you what had happened. I had been talking to you guys about the chunky money thing, playing the lottery. If you win the lottery, make sure you hook a sister up for putting you on game. You feel me? Whatever. How about the day after I did that live? 2 days after I did that live, I got a check in the mail. I got a check in the mail from a checking account that I closed 7 years ago. Okay. And I was like, is this real? Is this some fraudulent shit? You feel me? I opened it up. It was a check for $144. I was like, okay. The check was for repaying overdraft fees. They wanted to repay me. We were closing out all of our accounts, doing our books, and we see that we owed you $144 in overdraft fees. And I got a check for $144 from a checking account I closed 7 years ago. Okay, I was like, come on in the room. More of that, please. More of that. So that's my first chunky money experience. Oh, Sage Page, I'm glad you caught the live too. Tajali, you know what? Don't be giving me no problems. Tajali say your intros be about an hour long. When I say I'm gonna make the video short, I'm gonna try to keep it at an hour. She talking about, child, your damn intros be an hour. It's true. So anyway, yes. So I got $144 check 2 days later from a checking account I long since closed. You feel me? Cool. That's the one chunky money thing. Then remember, I did around that same time, I did a long video on the significance and the spiritual significance of, the historical significance of, and practical uses and applications for pine cones, pine needles, pine bark. Y'all remember that? So the next day, I went to go cut down some pine needles and to also collect some pine cones. And I went up to this tree and I saw a little branch that looked bright and fresh. So I went to cut the branch. And when I got up close to the tree, I found this. A red tail feather, a feather from a red tail hawk. A feather from a red tail hawk. So let me tell you about this and why I call it part of my chunky money. It was 18. So it was January 1st. It was New Year's Day of 2019. Yes, January 1st, 2019. December 31st, 2018 was the first deliberately sober New Year's Eve I had ever done. I had been invited by a then friend who is native to come join him and some friends to do a sober New Year's Eve out near San Francisco with what they called a midnight powwow, right? So the powwow started at like 10 o'clock. Y'all remember how the church used to do like pray-ins where you would bring your sleeping bags and there'd be food and snacks and stuff, and you would pray the new year in. So it was like that. It was like all of these native people, babies, kids, grown-ups, old people, did a powwow to welcome in the new year. And I went up there to hang out with these indigenous people, right? The next day, we were going for breakfast to get ready to go our separate ways. And when we all left, I got on the freeway. I hadn't been on the highway 10 minutes. And I saw something out of the corner of my eye. And I kept going, but it kept nagging me. I was like, I need to turn around and see what that was, right? And I turned back around, and it was a very recently deceased red-tailed hawk, right? And so, I mean, recently deceased enough that there were no bugs on her. Her body was still warm. And mind you, this is in the wintertime. Her body was still warm. Like she had just died. And so before I even pick her up, I call the same brother that invited me up to the spot. I was like, yo, you won't believe what just happened. He was like, are you okay? Like, do you need me to come and get you? I was like, no. I said, I just found a red-tailed hawk on the side of the road. He said, are you kidding? I said, no, I'm deadly serious. I was like, what do I do? He was like, do you have a plastic bag in your car? He's like, pick it up. And I was like, okay. So I picked her up and put her in the car. And I was like, so what do I do with her? He was like, you know, what you need to do is call so-and-so. So I, who I'd already known. It was a woman who was a native elder. She's since passed away, and find out what you need to do with the bird. Okay. He said, but I'll tell you this. Do not post pictures. Do not tell a whole bunch of people that you found a red-tailed hawk. I was like, why not? What's up? He was like, in our tradition, in our culture, finding a red-tailed hawk is tantamount to winning the lottery. Those were his exact words. Finding a red-tailed hawk is tantamount to winning the lottery. He's like, so don't be telling everybody that you got a bird, right? I was like, all right. So that was why I wanted to tell y'all that story. I won't go into the details of it, but that was, as a matter of fact, that red-tailed hawk. Hold on just a second. That bird that was gifted to me on the morning of January 1st, 2019, after my first sober New Year's. This is one of her talons that I had another brother from El Salvador wrap for me. So this is her. This is the one that y'all see me wearing all the time. But anyway, so that's always stayed with me. This is like, first of all, in Native tradition and Ifa tradition, the bird is, every bird, doesn't matter. Every bird is highly, highly, highly sacred, right? And in Native culture, the red-tailed hawk, the eagle, those are what they call the biggest medicine, like the biggest spiritual medicine in their tradition, right? And so, so I always remembered that. And then also in Ifa tradition, every bird, not only birds, every winged creature, but particularly birds, are the domain of the Iami. Depending upon the type of bird, it may just be the domain of the Iami, or it may be emblematic of the power of the Age, the Iami Age. Every bird, every winged creature, right? So in Ifa tradition, they tell you if a bird is present or birds are present, like the Iami is present. There's something that they want you to pay attention to. You need to like draw yourself into the present so you can see what it is that's trying to be communicated to you. So anyway, that happened, right? So that's my chunky money. That's my like energetic blessing. Where the native brother says tantamount to winning the lottery. His exact words. I found this red-tailed feather, this red-tailed hawk feather, on the day that I was telling y'all about doing this work with the energy of the pine cone, the pine tree, the bark, and the needles. Now, after that, this is all in the same week, y'all. This is all in the same week. Okay, maybe 3 days later, I think I'm driving to a client's house. I'm blowing the freeway up because I'm late, as usual. You feel me? And it's high traffic. Like the traffic is dumb. is dumb. I already got an attitude. I'm already zipping in and out of traffic. You feel me? Trying to get where I'm going. And we end up on this exit bend, right? And the first thing that I notice is that there is road construction that's slowing up the exit traffic, right? And so I see these big ass cones on the road, the big barrel looking cones on the road. As I look at the barrels, I look down. I'm like, oh shit. So I pull off the side of the road. Now, this is in high traffic. You feel me? On one of those roads that are very narrow and barely have, like, what do you call it? Little, shoot, like a little, and it's on the left hand side. So it's not even like I'm on the far right side. It can just pull off on, the side of the road. I'm in a little lane like this in high traffic. And I jump out the car to retrieve a full red tail hawk. This was just last week because I just cleaned the bird maybe 2 or 3 days ago. Yeah, 2 or 3 days ago, I sat out and where my car is and to clean the bird. Okay. That took a long time because the bird had been dead for a long time. She had been dead for a while. So her body was stiff, and there was bugs all on her and in her. So it was a really gross project, but I finally cleaned the bird, right? What shoulder? Shoulder what? Oh, the shoulder. Thank you. Yes, the shoulder of the road, which was barely a shoulder. I was all up in. People was honking at me and shit. I was all up in the traffic, right? But let me tell you, right? So there was a lot about her I could not salvage that I would have loved to. But like I said, she had been dead for a long time. Usually LA County, LA City are very jolly on the spot about, retrieving roadkill off the freeway. But I think because of where she wasn't very evident. And so she'd been there for a while. And so I sat out there with a mask on and some gloves on to clean her. So let me just tell you really quick. I have ads placed because there's an ad about to come up. I have ads placed at every 18 minutes in my lives because people rarely come back and watch the lives. So I have the ads placed in the lives. This is how you can support the channel, is watching the ads. I know it's annoying, but it is only once every 18 minutes. Watch 1 or 2, then skip through the rest if you can. You feel me? I know it's annoying, but it's the way that my channel makes money. So that's coming up in a few seconds, okay? And I'll slow my roll so you don't miss anything. And I'll wait to show the bird until the ad runs. So anyway, those were my 3 chunky money things, right? I found a red tail feather when I went to go retrieve some pine needles from a little pine workings in here. I got my little $144 check from the most unexpected place, from this bank. They probably owe me more money than that, truth be told, but I got $144 from them and I closed that account with them 7 years ago, right? And then I found this bird just a few days later. I'm telling you, I was in here like, this is amazing. This is a goddamn miracle is what it is. I was like, the mother's got my bag. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I be paying attention. The mother's got my bag. Because what are the odds? First of all, what are the odds in a city? Because one of the things that I've told y'all in the past is being in LA, it's so weird, like I'm talking about even in the spaces where I go hiking, you know what I'm saying? Like just outside the city, it's so weird that you rarely see animals. I'm talking about on hiking trails. Like I'm talking about not just animals. I have talked to a friend of mine. I'm like, why can't we hear no bugs? We can't hear no bzzz, no bees, no beetles, no fucking crickets. No, like you can't, when you go hiking up these big ass, you don't hear nothing, no bugs, no little animals, creeping in the woods, nothing. I'm like, that shit is crazy. Yes. So at least it didn't even occur to me, girl. Yes. 144 equals 9. And that's Oya's number. Thank you. See, even she being present. I wasn't even that present. But anyway, yeah, I'm like always like, damn, where all people done chased all the animals away. It's so weird, right? And so for me to find a bird, you know what I'm saying, in LA City, in on the traffic, in the on the freeway, right? That was bliss. That was for me. You understand? And for her to have been dead long enough for her to be completely cleaned out. Like this is the wing. This is the wing of the red tail hawk that I got on New Year's. Okay. This one is the first bird I ever processed. That's why her wing is out all perfect, right? So that's her. And then one of this, I had her, and I had this one, which is when my mom got sick. Remember when I told you my mom got diagnosed with cancer, and I I drove to Alabama to treat her. This is the owl that I found and processed while I was in Alabama. So I processed her body when I was in Alabama. I had both sets of wings. I had both of the owl wings and both of the red-tailed hawk wings. And then when I took those sisters in March to do the burial ritual, the death, burial, the death, inception, and rebirth ritual for the spring equinox in March. And I told y'all there were 7 of us that went out to the desert. I had both sets of these wings set up on the altar that we set up. And I didn't think anything of it. You know what I'm saying? I had the whole altar left out overnight. And when we woke, I also had my horsetail whip out there. And when we went out there and I left the horsetail whip and the wings out overnight, coyotes had gotten a hold of one of each of the wings and the horsetail whip. So those are gone forever. Coyotes ran off with them. And so I have one left of each. So these were big monumental events in my life where I retrieved these birds. This being the one here being when I did my first sober New Year's, the first year that I was here in LA with Native people. And then here when I drove across country in 3 days to treat my mom who had just been diagnosed with cancer. So these were monumental events where these birds were gifted to me. And so I'm telling y'all, be prepared for chunky money, open yourself up for wealth that you did not work for, that you didn't earn. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't a consequence of your labor that's coming to you. And those 3 things happened in the same week. So okay, I think the commercial might be over. So I'm going to show you guys. Thank you, Java Watson, for your donation, love. I appreciate that. Anybody else who wants to make a donation, you can do that through, it should be at the bottom of your screen where you can send like a super chat, a super thanks, or something else. Cool. Then, so I want to show you that I still have a little work to do with the processing of this new bird, but I did get her body processed and I still have a couple of extra steps. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to do that too. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to show you, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to do with it. Okay, so, and then just so you know, like birds, especially in African traditions, birds are huge, giant medicine, massive, giant. Again, because every version of African tradition teaches that the bird is a representation of the all-seeing, ever-present power of the mothers. Every aspect of African culture, right? So, and especially, I'll be honest, especially in the practice of like Palo Maombe, which is quote black magic. Bird body parts are extremely, extremely important. So much so that they're extremely expensive. Okay. So I'm going to show you the first thing that I did, because her body was really mangled. Like I said, there were certain aspects of her body that were not redeemable. So the first thing that I did was retrieve her feathers. So here we are. All right. So we got all these feathers. So all these feathers. Okay. Then her wings were badly damaged, and because her body wasn't processed. What I mean by processing is like how you position the bird to be able to retrieve like the tail feathers as one piece, or the wings spread out like you saw them spread out there, or to be able to retrieve the body with the like rib cage intact or the spine intact. Okay. So because of how the fact that she wasn't processed, she was out on the street, you feel me? Her body took kind of a hard hit, but I was able to retrieve her wings relatively intact. Like I said, there's still a process I have to go through with her, but this is one wing, so I have to be very delicate with it. But that one, right? And then the other one is very stiff, so I can't open it. The body was very, very stiff. And then there's a ton, and then I was able to retrieve like the talons and the spinal bones, and the head. I've never been able to retrieve a head from a bird because with the owl and with the red-tailed hawk, the heads were both crushed. So the heads were unredeemable. So this was the first bird where I was able to retrieve her head. So I have the talents. So that's what happened. I got the bird and the feather from the pine cone collection. So those are my little gifts from the last little period of that Pluto stationing direct, Gemini, the Jupiter stationing retrograde in Gemini, and that full moon in Aries that we just went through. So I've been waiting for days to share that with you guys, and I'll let you know sooner than later what I'm going to be doing with that that blessing that I've received. Okay, so what else was I going to talk to y'all about? And let me do a time check. Okay. So, oh, there's another thing. So if you look in the description of this video, one of the sisters who's been following my channel, one of the women that's been following my channel for some time, she participated a lot when we were doing the book club for Pure Lust very regularly. Sister Lolita Mason. If you look in the description, I want you all to click the link in the description that says Lolita Mason, because I got a lot of clips in here. But click that link, and she has just launched a children's book on Amazon entitled Animal Spirits for Children. Animal Spirits for Children. I want you all to support her. I'm actually buying the book today for my grandkids. My daughter just sent me her new address. So support this sister, Lolita Mason, buy her book, and also share the link with others so we can have some, women of color centered children's books about the witchy shit we be discussing. So I love that. And so I told her that I would mention the book. So y'all go into the link as soon as you can so you don't forget. I think the book is $6.99. If you have friends with kids, if you have grandkids, whatever. Buy the book, send it to your people them, or get it for your own children. But I'm doing that today. I'm sending that to my grandbabies as their first little witchy book on animal spirits. Okay. So I wanted to make sure I did that. Also, I told you at the beginning of the month, I started a detox. I know that sounds like a contradiction as I drink my glass of wine, but I told y'all at the beginning, I was not going to stop drinking totally, but my commitment for the month was that I would only drink red wine for the month. That's my detox. You feel me? That's part of it. That's the thing that I'm like giving up is liquor. So for the month, I'm only drinking red wine as my beverage of choice, right? Which was harder than I thought. Anyway, so the other things that I've been doing is I've been taking a lot of herbs. I started doing the pine needle tea, which was really extraordinary, you guys. I got to make another batch today. But like within the first 3 days, y'all, like my pain level, because, you know, I've been doing all these massages and it's been wearing on me. You know what I'm saying? The pine needle tea is jamming. So I got to make another batch today. So between and then I'm doing tonight, Java Watson, look, boo, vodka and tequila are my drugs of choice. You feel me? But every now and again, I will decide to give my liver a little break by adding some things and removing some things. And typically white liquor is, or, you know, liquor period is the thing that I'll give up. I'll still do I'll still do red wine, but I'll give up liquor for a little while and then add some herbs or whatever. So I've been doing that since October 1st, which is when I started my little detox. And I'll tell you, I still do what I do. Like I've been adding a lot of herbs. I've been adding a lot of fiber because fiber is how you move things along. Once you start detoxing, fasting or whatever, and stuff starts kicking back into circulation, you need for it to have a quick exit route. And most people forget or neglect to add fiber to assist that process. And so I've been doing that. I've been doing fiber 1 to 2 times a day. I've been doing 3 different types of herbs, the pine needle tea as a singular herb, even though I have other stuff in it. I've been doing water at least twice a day with cinnamon, cayenne, cardamom, clove, and lemon juice. Chug that twice a day. And I had ice cream for breakfast yesterday. Okay. Doing what I do. I haven't been like quote dieting. I haven't been doing anything extreme. I did stop eating out like fast food. So I have eaten out 3 times since October 1st. And that's always been places that I can get a good, decent, like vegetable heavy meal, right? So I've eaten out 3 times. I keep drinking wine. I had ice cream for breakfast. You feel me? I still do what I do. And from October 1st to today, I've lost 11 pounds. And my pain level has gone down significantly. Feel me? Okay. So I wanted to share that with y'all. And then let's see. I think, let's see, it's 1:33. Miss Carrie says, I've been thinking about doing a detox for a while. This is my sign to do it. Yeah, I accept that. I accept that. I think for me personally, I think the 2 times of the year that are really important and advantageous to do detoxes is when we're transitioning kind of like into the winter season. The winter season to me is the best time to do any kind of detox or fast. And then this time of the year is fine because it's like it's a slow transition from, you know, from the fall to the winter. That's fine. And then the spring, the first day of spring or leading up to. So those 2 weeks before the spring equinox, I always try to do a detox. That's a liver specific detox that I do transitioning into spring, right? So usually the month of March or 2 weeks before the equinox, which is usually around March 20th to the 21st. I will do a detox. I will do a liver specific detox. Okay. So, Ms. Carrie, yes, if anybody is interested in information on how to do a detox, you can email me at releaseheartcenter@gmail.com. Okay. So, and I think the last thing that I am going to talk about is, I think the last thing I'm going to talk about, because we got a lot to talk about and I got a lot of research to do, like in terms of bringing some things together that I wanted to use when I do the video tonight. That's going to be called Women of Color Stop Casting Spells on Your Daughters. I'm going to be bringing to the table a lot of books and a lot of information and a lot of feedback. And, but I was thinking about today, the last video that I did, you guys should go back and watch. It was actually entitled Beyond God the Father, part 10 of Beyond God the Father, which was the last video that I did before today. And that video I've watched all the way through about 3 times since I posted the video. And then I have gotten a ton of timestamps from you guys, from different people, Java Watson in particular, but I've gotten a lot of timestamps from that video. And some of the things that came through in that video. And the introduction to that video, because it wasn't just the read. Ms. Carey say, everybody bring your pens and notepads tonight. Yeah. But anyway, the intro for that video, the 10th read of Beyond God the Father, the video, the intro came from a specific place. It was an interaction. Now, that video I posted maybe 7 days ago, but it came from an interaction with someone that I had for the last 3 years identified as friend. And that interaction was very sobering and very revealing. And it sat with me for a long time, this interaction. And it sat with me for a number of reasons that I didn't get into, but the impact that it had on me was the basis for the introduction that I did in that last video, which again is entitled Part 10 of Beyond God the Father. I'm mentioning that because I keep telling y'all, we are what? Let's see, today is the 25th. So we are 14 days, maybe, I think 14 days out from, is that right? Yeah, 14 days out from this big ass event that I have been talking to you guys about for 4 years. The completion of the cycle of America's First Pluto Returns completes its cycle on November 19th. We have been in America's First Pluto Returns for 2 years, almost 2 years. It began on February 20th of 2022. It began on February 20th, 2022. And we have been in the return cycle for a little more than 2 years. That cycle will finish its completion on November 19th of next month of 2024, which my homeboy is on the line, Will Buckley. His birthday is on November 19th. So it's big. Thanks for the reminder, boo. It's big. It's huge. It's monumental. And if any of the occurrences of the last 6 months, hell, of the last year, because we're in this month where a year ago last year on October 7th, we as an American population were thrust unwillingly into this quagmire that rages on in the Middle East. But even before that, 2 days after America's First Pluto Returns began, February 22, 2022, 2 days later, we were thrust yet again by this administration into this conflict that didn't directly, involve us, between the Ukraine and Russia. 2 days after we began the greetings, Veoni. 2 days after the beginning of America's First Pluto Returns, Under the Biden administration, literally 2 months into his official bid as president, we were thrust both feet first to the tune of billions of dollars in support of Ukraine in opposition to Russia. Two years after that, on October 7th, we were thrust yet again into the tune of billions of dollars into this orchestrated conflict in the Middle East that has yet again raped American citizens, robbed American citizens of damn near every fucking penny they have. Those $1 billion don't just emerge out of the ethers. Every dollar that is spent to Israel, every dollar that has been sent to Ukraine is a dollar your labor generated. That's what I mean when I say we've been robbed blind. Every dollar that is sent to Israel and to Ukraine over the last 4 years that Biden has been in office is money that your labor, your blood, sweat, and tears and sleepless nights has generated, that you can't access, that you don't have any right to, that has been robbed from all of the ways that would benefit your life. We complain about the government. We complain about, how, we can afford to go to war this day, but we can't afford to do. Yes, we can afford to solve every problem that impacts the lives of people who live in the United States. That's not the way we should be articulating that. We can afford to go to war, but we can't afford to solve our own problems. Yes, the fuck we can. We have generated the wealth to solve every goddamn problem that exists in America. But the people that we give power to, the people that we put in positions of power over us, rob us blind and sing us a lullaby that helps us to not rage against this bitch about why they got to send our money. That's our money. Why they got to send our money somewhere the fuck else, and why that money is better spent there than it is solving the problems that exist in this country that already have the resources to solve. We already have the resources to solve every problem that exists. But we always say that it's something else. We always say that it's something else. And so the reason that I'm talking about this is because here we are getting ready to, one, yield willingly, collectively, power again to those who have no interest whatsoever in solving a single problem that exists in the United States. Everyone that you potentially vote for has no interest in solving a problem that exists right here. They don't. And we, year after year, and term after term, and president after president, are sung a lullaby and then turned around and immediately politically betrayed every time, all the time, red, blue, all the same. We are immediately swindled out of our resource. Every penny spent elsewhere is a penny created by the labor of Americans. That's it. And so I'm telling you, there's a lot happening. Yes, Java Watson, yes. And I'm telling you, I don't know what the solution is. I'll be honest. I don't know what to tell you. I just tell you what I'm going to do, how I move, what I think is the most principled way to engage in political life. The most principled way. Because to say that we have to vote for the lesser of two evils, to say anything but Trump, is not principled. It's not based in integrity. It's not based in principle. It's based in fear-induced cowardice. It's based in political betrayal. That's what it's based in. Because if that is chronically your answer, that never produces any results that benefit you, like at what juncture do we say, okay, I did that. I participated in that? Because nobody's saying it. But under anything but Trump that got Biden elected to the White House, under the fear mongering of anything but Trump that put Biden in the White House, your ass has been thrusted into 2 motherfucking wars that have robbed you blind. At the same time that Biden has been in office, the homelessness rate has gone up 25% in this country. 25% under Biden. 25% under Biden. The economy, regardless of all these Negroes and all these men who are all of a sudden so disillusioned with the blue party that they got to go vote for Trump, like that's the only solution that they can come up with. They got to go vote for Trump because at least we got some checks under Trump. Look, listen, the economy was just as flawed and fucked. The fucking conditions of regular everyday working people in this country were just as fucked. So that ain't the solution either. Under the guise of anything but Trump, you put a genocidal, not just currently, a historically genocidal lunatic in office. That's what y'all did. And at the end of the day, nobody is taking responsibility. Nobody is coming up on here. I try to be graceful. I try to give grace because I recognize why you do what you do. You believe the hype, you believe the narrative, you believe the bullshit, you believe the propaganda. I get it. But I know people who swear they progressive, swear they up on game, hardcore Marxists, hardcore Leninists, hardcore socialists. Fuck the system, fuck the man, and still went out and voted for Biden. They did that. And so at some juncture, somebody is going to have integrity. Somebody, I get it. And I'm not trying to make you feel like an asshole because you voted for Biden. But to have integrity means I have to take an account, a personal account of my participation in the way the fucking world looks. I have to do that on my own. Did I contribute to this madness? And if so, how? And if I did, how can I rectify the shit? How can I redeem myself from the error that I made? It's not about being humiliated about the decision that you made. It is about having enough integrity to hold yourself accountable and move differently. That's what it's about. And I hadn't seen one person here, everybody having all this political discourse about why they ain't going to vote for Kamala or why they ain't going to vote for Trump and why the blue party and why the red party. And I have not heard one person yet get up on these goddamn social media outlets, news outlets, and say, you know what? Analyzing the last 4 years, the pros and cons of the last 4 years, I want to take personal responsibility. I want to say that I too was one to vote to put Biden in office under the fear mongering of anything but Trump. I want to take responsibility for the way the economy looks. I want to take personal responsibility for the lives lost in these aggressions that Biden walked us the fuck into. I want to take responsibility for that because even though anything but Trump, there was enough information out in the world about who Biden is, what his history has been, the damage that it has done on people around the fucking world. There was enough information for me to say, yes, not his motherfucking ass either. Y'all don't even have enough courage to just go ahead and say, you know what? If all of us cast our fate with the green, we all demoralized, we all disappointed with both major parties. Let's just see what the fuck happened if we collectively say, fuck that, we voting for the third party. I don't give a fuck how infamous they are. I don't give a fuck how little resources they have to do whatever it is and such and such. Y'all don't even have enough courage to do that. Y'all don't even have enough courage to do that. But damn sure won't get up on here and before saying, this is why I'm choosing this party, or this is why I'm choosing this party, and I want to take responsibility for the role that I played in the now, in the present, in the world, the way that it looks right motherfucking now, I did that. Because that's what it means to yield your power to someone. That's what it means. Y'all talk about Black people fought and died for the right to vote. No, they didn't. Stop saying that about our ancestors. Our ancestors were brutalized because they saw the vote as the only way to be able to win something for themselves and to end aggressions of themselves against themselves through being allowed to be full participants in the electoral process, in the democratic process, as it had been told to them. It wasn't about the right to vote. They saw it as a way to wage nonviolent war. That's what they saw. That's what they saw. It wasn't about the vote. It was about what they believed through what they had been told was the only way to exact democratically their right to participate in the fucking country they constructed. And at the juncture that shit didn't work, do you think that our ancestors dead and buried, beat the fuck over the head, lynched and shit, would be participating in the electoral process today after 100 years of political betrayal by both parties? No, they wouldn't. Because our ancestors were very smart. They were very learned. They paid attention and they moved accordingly. I just did a whole thing with y'all on the piece that W.E.B. Du Bois wrote about why he would not be participating in the 1956 election after being a hardcore advocate for the democratic process since he was 18 years old. The first year he voted was in 1889. He participated in voted in every single election from 1889 to 1950, to 1952. And he said, this year I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why I voted for he went through the whole thing. Every single person that I voted for, this is why I voted for them. This is what it yielded. Not a motherfucking thing. Not for us, not for black people. That's what he said. He said, so y'all got it. I will not be participating again. This was not just some regular everyday black person like myself. This was an educated Negro. As a matter of fact, W.E.B. Du Bois was the first black graduate of fucking Harvard. He was smarter than all of us. And he said, y'all got it. I ain't doing this shit no more. I ain't doing it. I'm not doing it. And here we are. That was in 1956. That was 80 years ago that W.E.B. Du Bois said. He said in the piece, he said, all I tell my black brothers and sisters when they say that they're going to vote is I ask them why. What it is they expect to win from this vote that they're casting, from this political power that they are yielding to someone else to represent them. He said that 80 fucking years ago, and here the fuck we are with this same old bullshit and nobody taking responsibility. You want to condemn, because I done had too many arguments over the last few months about why I take the position about the electoral process that I take. I'm staunchly audacious about it too. I pay taxes, so I can say whatever the fuck I want about the electoral process and its failures. They still take and extract taxes from me, whether I vote or not, bitch. So I can still say what the fuck I want to say about the process. And let me tell you something. People that I have respected, people like activists, people like revolutionaries who outside of the quote democratic process that every 4 years they go and vote type of shit, actually do work on the ground to change the circumstances for human beings. I respect them. Because there are people who don't do a motherfucking thing. But all of a sudden, when the presidential election come around, they the super supreme voice on what it means to be a full participant in the democratic process and our political irresponsibility when we tell people don't vote, don't cast your vote for none of these criminals or whatever. Somehow we are the ones that are ignorant. Somehow we are the ones that are backwards in our position, not them who once every 4 years have an opinion about something, go to fuck somewhere to supposedly do something. And all it is they go and cast a vote behind a shade so they can be discreet about the fucked up position they taking behind that screen. So my challenge is those of you who voted for Biden, again, it is not about shaming you. It ain't. It is not. It is. I would never shame somebody for the vote that they cast based on the belief about what the power was that they were yielding was going to benefit, how it was going to benefit them. I don't shame people about their vote. I do ask people to have political integrity. If you voted for that motherfucker and you know the consequences of it, say that shit. I take personal responsibility for the way the goddamn United States look right now. Not only that, there are so many people who are outspoken. And it's dangerous these days to be outspoken in your position about what's happening in Israel and Palestine. It is dangerous. It is the primary way that your ass can be censored and lose your livelihood is to say, I stand with Palestine. People are outspoken and audacious and like, yes, I stand with Palestine. Fuck what you heard, whatever. But still don't have enough political integrity to say it is my vote that contributed to what's happening in Palestine right now. I take responsibility for that. And how I'm going to redeem myself for that vote that I gave to that motherfucker. How I'm going to redeem myself for the role that I played. God damn it. We can't even do that. I stand with Palestine. I stand with Palestine. Oh, well, isn't that convenient? Isn't that convenient to stand with Palestine? When we cannot have enough political integrity to say, I am a tax-paying U.S. citizen, and whoever I am, I want to take personal responsibility for how our funds have contributed, the money we generate together as humans in the United States, the labor, the toil, the sweat. Motherfuckers talking about they can barely afford to exist working 60 hours a week in this bitch. Yet billions and billions and billions and billions and billions for the last 4 years have been going to these two aggressions across the seas. But mysteriously, there's nothing to solve any problems here. Mysteriously, there's nothing to solve any problems here. Mysteriously, there's nothing. I live in a state that has the 5th largest economy on Earth, not in the United States, on the planet, California. If anybody had the ability tomorrow to solve the homelessness question, it would be this motherfucking state if there was an incentive to solve the problem. And everything becomes the excuse, but how to solve the fucking problem. Because resources is not the excuse. Resources is not the excuse. And nobody is all these political commentaries about why the red or why the blue or this and that or AOC coming down on the Green Party or whatever. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Until somebody in this country comes forward and says, I, as a tax-paying citizen, generating the wealth that exists in this country, want to take personal responsibility for the role my vote casted has impacted the country the way that it looks right now. I want to take personal responsibility and challenge you to take personal responsibility for why America looks like it looks right now under the Biden administration because of the power that I yielded to that motherfucker. I'm just trying to tell you. I'm just trying to tell you. Claudia Ancra says, you were the only person I've ever heard presenting this about W.E.B. Du Bois. And it's right there on the internet. I read it straight from the internet when I read it to y'all. Being born a citizen gives you the right to criticize our government. Thank you. I hate how they always bring up Black people and civil rights, but no mentions of white women's suffrage. No mention of white women's suffrage. Listen, I'm just trying to tell you. I have a hard line. I get it. I have a hard line. I get it. But and I'm telling you, this wasn't even the reason I brought it up. I actually brought it up. I'm a backtrack and then get right back to the point. The reason I brought this up was I was talking to you about how, these relationships have been dissolving over the last few weeks because we've entered into this period of America's first Pluto return and the constant exposure that has come as a consequence of America's first Pluto return. That was how I got on that whole diatribe, right? About people who swear they so super progressive, but when you come into a direct conversation with them that makes them uneasy, you see how progressive motherfuckers are. That was that conversation that I had with the dude. Like I said, the video I did like 7 days ago or so, and the dude that I'd had the tit for tat with, I was feeling fucked up. Like, why I even gave that motherfucker that much? I tell y'all, I don't argue with fucking men, and I said right here because he quote friend and gave him much more space than I ever would, right? And how that friendship bullshit. So this is what I was getting to. It was actually about friendship. It actually wasn't about y'all voting or no shit, but it's all related because people are talking all the time about how friends are falling off from left to right because people can no longer keep the peace as quote friends when their friends are outright in their fucked up political positions that are in direct opposition to what you believe is the right way for the world to exist. You feel me? That's not something that you can just brush off. Y'all can just be friends, even though a motherfucker support genocide. How that happen? How that work? But it's deeper than that, because there's so many political issues that we let slide with so-called friends, so-called niceness, so-called, oh, I like you. But when the shit get real, and so that's how I got on it. And I've been thinking about this today. I'm gonna backtrack, but I'm gonna still go back to this voting thing because it's important. So I was thinking today, I wrote in my notes, APSP dissolved. The year that I joined the African People's Socialist Party was 2001. It was 2001, the year I joined the APSP. I joined the APSP 3 months after 9/11. 3 months after 9/11, I joined the party, right? I joined the party at the height of like some internal political conflict inside the party. So I'm brand new. I'm young. Maybe I was 24 or 26 or something like that. I was young. When I joined the party, I don't know what's happening. I just know that there are all these meetings. There's this weird energy in the space. I'm hype about the line. I'm hype about the politics. I'm hype about how my mind is getting blown open by all the shit that I never knew about the world. But I can still feel this weird energy happening among the leadership in the party that is deepening and deepening and deepening. Now, at the time that I joined the party, it was popular. It was popping. There were branches all over the country. Fred Hampton Jr. was in the party. His mother was still the president of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement in Chicago. Like, he was doing work as the president of the Oakland branch. Like, the party was popping. The party was all over the place, and the party was popping. As a matter of fact, M1 from Dead Prez was the president of MPDOM in New York at the time. You feel me? So M1 from Dead, like, it was popping. It was popping when I joined it. I was on fire. I was like, this, that shit. You feel me? But our convention, the International Democratic Uhuru Movement convention that happened that same year, Fred Hampton Jr. was asked to lead the discussion on the political prisoners' work of MPDOM. He was on a panel. There was all these different people on the panel, right? But I remember he was asked at the last minute to lead the piece because the brother who was the president of MPDOM in St. Petersburg, Sobukwe, had just quit the party. He had the week of the convention, he had just submitted his resignation. I'll tell you, these are just minor details, but Sobukwe, man. Sobukwe, woo, chap, that motherfucker was a political genius. He was young. He had been in the party since he was 16. He was like the chairman's protege. He was brilliant. His lectures was like a motherfucker playing chess. Okay. He was brilliant. And in hindsight, you know that brilliance is a problem for men. And so anyway, the reason I'm mentioning this is because the week of the convention, all of this chaos was happening behind the scene. We still made the convention go off without a hitch, but for those who were in positions of leadership, the shit was chaos. So after the convention was over, all the new members of the party, because there was a bunch of us my age, like we were 24 to 26, there was a bunch of us that joined the party that came to the convention. I don't know, maybe 32 people who were new members of the party. And then the chairman had said, y'all make you stay for one more day because we need to have a meeting of the party, right? So the party is like, you know, the head of the organization, right? So the chairman called this meeting. I'll never forget this shit. This shit was in 2001. He said, because now, of course, this ain't none of our radar because we don't know none of the history of the ins and outs of the party. But what he said came to me today before I got on this live. He said, because many of you do not have the courage to just say, I quit, what you're doing in staying against your will, staying in the party against your will, is amounting to sabotage of the organization. Your behavior in the organization has the effect of sabotage. Your unwillingness to complete the tasks assigned to you, or the delay or the chronic lateness or whatever, your lack of enthusiasm for the party shows. And because you're a coward, Because you are too cowardly to just say, fuck this, I quit, what the party is going to do is we're going to dissolve the membership of the African People's Socialist Party. Everybody is now expelled from the party. Everybody. We were just like, what the fuck is happening? We just joined the party. Most of us were still in our probationary period. It was like, what the fuck is happening? He said, from this day, everybody in every branch, because we had branches in the United States, in England, in Africa, in fucking Switzerland, in Germany, everybody will be getting a memo that from this day, their membership in the African People's Socialist Party is dissolved. They are no longer members of the APSP. Those of you who want to, after you are expelled, those of you who want to resubmit your application will not have to go, you will not have to go back through the probationary period. But those of you who want to re-enter the ranks of the African People's Socialist Party as soon as you are expelled, I tell you, you can take a week to consider your position. And if after a week you still want to rejoin the party, we will accept your application. This way, you cowards can leave the party without taking the responsibility to quit, to submit your letter of resignation. Now, everybody is the fuck out. Everybody is the fuck out. And those of you who really about that life, just resubmit your application. I don't know where and why, after waking up this morning, that came to my thought. That particular, because I've been talking to y'all for a couple of weeks now about this thing with our so-called friends and so-called niceness and so-called liking bitches and shit like that. I've been talking to y'all about that but today, I was like, this is what I need to do. I need to fucking clear my roster of everybody I call friend and then tell them that if they really about that life, they can resubmit their application for friendship with me. That's what I woke up with today. That's what I woke up with today. Because many people, I won't say many of you, many people who have hung on to the title of friendship with me, and I know others of you feel it too. Others of you have called me to tell me so, texted me to tell me so, emailed me to tell me so. Why do I feel so uncomfortable yet I'm surrounded by friends? Why do I feel this uneasiness in my spirit though I'm surrounded by friends? What did I just tell y'all the other day on that same live that I did reading the book about the motherfucking demons? Demons ain't out there in the world somewhere. Demons are the actions of people who align themselves with you, but are secretly sabotaging you, secretly speaking spells on your name. That bitch, who she thinks she is, what she thinks she know. Dressed as friends. Oh, hey girl, how you doing? Hey brother, how you doing? What's up, peace God? How you doing? I'm just telling you. And these motherfuckers, and I did a whole long thing about it, so I'm not going to do it again today. You can go back and watch part 10 of the read. But demons ain't out in the ethos, baby. Demons aren't the motherfuckers you see in horror movies, bitch. Demons are the programming that rests in our fucking brain that have us behave in fucked up and unprincipled ways, especially towards others that are doing good in the world, that are doing something in the world. These aren't malignant. It ain't, you know what? It's not malignant motherfuckers. It's not ugly motherfuckers. It's not motherfuckers out here doing dirt that get the demons from others. It's not. Have you ever noticed that? It's not them that's plagued by demons. It's not. It's us who have taken a position, openly, courageously taken a position that anything is better than this. We can create anything that is better. Anything that we do create is going to be better than this bullshit that has been imposed on us. And I'm going to take an outright position in opposition to the state, in opposition to the government, in opposition to patriarchy, in opposition to misogyny, in opposition to racism, in opposition to all these things that plague our fucking existence and make it impossible for us to live a peaceful and prosperous life. I am opposed. And then we become the ones that people want to fucking direct their little demons at. You feel me? What's that girl name? Simone Biles. That girl ain't never did no dirt to nobody. Out here minding her business, trying to be glorious in her black self. Demons. Surrounded by demons. Why her hair look like that? Can't she find somebody to do her hair? Why she don't wear no makeup? She lucky to get married to that no-name nigga that's a demon in her life. You understand what I'm saying? And so, and that's the thing that pisses me off to no end. People who call themselves your friends, and because you got a crinkle in your forehead when you speak, or because you turn your mouth up when you speak, somehow all of a sudden cannot see love. Somehow all of a sudden cannot remember all the ways that they have shown up for you in your motherfucking life. But because you got some bass in your voice, because you a little animated when you talk, because I'm serious. But I talk about this even when I talk about us changing the world. This is my face. When I'm saying we gonna win this, we gonna take this shit. I look exactly the same. I look exactly the same when I'm excited. Even when I'm excited about what I see as a clear future for us. I'm hyped. This is what hype look like. Even if I'm in disagreement, does it completely erase the history of my presence in your fucking life and the ways that I've shown up for you? Why you got to be so aggressive? Why can't you just talk softer? There's a way to communicate that without your face looking mad. The fuck? There's a way that you can communicate that without so much bass in your voice. Huh? Are we in dire straits or not? That's the question that I got. I done talked to y'all about this a lot. So I'm just venting because these last 3 weeks have been crazy revealing. Are we in dire straits or not? And the bottom line should be this, is if you know me, if you have had a personal relationship with me in any capacity where you can count at least one time I have shown up for you in a way that made you better, that helped you, that guided you in a direction that improved your life, then know that that is the basis for any emotional expression that I have. That love is the basis of this expression, even if it is something that we are in disagreement about. That the way I communicate, which I call passionate, don't make it something else. Don't say that it's something else. It's what the fuck I say. It's what I say for a change. And that is what y'all have. That is what y'all cannot get used to. It's what you cannot get used to. I believe in the work that I'm doing. I believe in the future that I am actively participating in creating. That all of you, I make the assumption, are actively participating in creating. But in order to create this world, it cannot just be love and light and soft voices and somebody say here being demure and shit. It can't be that. It can't be that. That's not the world that we live in right now. It's the world that we can create, but it's not the world that we live in. The world that we live in requires a motherfucking contest. That's what it requires. It requires for us to be the radical agents, the radical agents of the mother in her current personification. And her current personification is not on some mother goddess, so you can swing off my titties and forgiveness at all costs and all of that shit. That ain't the mother. That is not the mother's personification right now. Even astrologically, I just told y'all last week, it's all the warrior goddesses on deck right now. Eris, what's her name? Hecate, Black Lilith, motherfucking Pluto as Oya, Oshun as her personification as the vulture. Oshun as the vulture, Oshun as the warrior, Oshun as the black as the black magic governess. Like, how many languages do we have to say this shit in? There is nothing that, Kali Ma, thank you. There is nothing in the world that anybody should require some woman to be fucking smiling about. No woman should be smiling about the world that we live in right now. So instead of talking to me, to my black ass, about how I need to soften my voice, how there's a better way I can communicate what the fuck I communicate, how about we destroy patriarchy? How about that? That'll give me peace. That'll give me happiness. That'll soften my face. How about we do that? You want me to talk quiet? You want me to be demure? Bitch, participate, actively participate in fucking slaying patriarchy. That will give me some peace. That'll give me some ease where I can walk about this bitch with a smile on my face. How about that? Y'all got all the fucking smoke for women. Y'all got all the fucking smoke for black women. Y'all got all the goddamn criticisms of our beingness and our beingness in place. Y'all critique every motherfucking aspect of our existence in life, but ain't got no smoke for patriarchy, ain't got no smoke for the state, ain't got no smoke for the bourgeoisie, ain't got no smoke for goddamn plutarchs and the oligarchy. Y'all ain't got no smoke for these people who dominate every aspect of every last one of your lives. There's not a man, not a woman, not a child, not a LGBTQIA plus person whose lives are not directly impacted by billionaires, by corporations, by the government, by the state, by the motherfucking police, but you got all the smoke in the world for black women. Somehow everything in the fucking world is laid at the feet of black women. It's our responsibility the way the world look, the way your life look. Y'all got all the smoke for us, but no smoke where it fucking counts. That shit, it's not gonna happen. That's what I'm saying, man. I'm gonna have to dissolve my motherfucking list, because even people who think they are my friends, who I see as friends, get so comfortable in that friendship that they really feel like they can say just whatever the fuck they want to say. They really do. Ain't did no work. Ain't been a spiritual leader for motherfucking 15 years. Ain't been putting their hands on human beings to literally physically transform motherfuckers' bodies for 20 years. Ain't did that. But somehow I got all the know-how, got all the information above me that give them the right to say whatever the fuck they want to say to me. This has happened over and over and over again for the last 3 weeks. When I tell you that Pluto's return, that we are sitting here walking the fuck through, that's ending on November 19th, is exposing you all. It's exposing you all. It's exposing you. And again, just like I said last week, instead of, before you have a knee-jerk reaction to something someone says, instead of saying, why am I having a knee-jerk reaction to this? Maybe I need to go face myself in the mirror and talk to myself. Talk to my ancient self, talk to my people now, talk to my ancestors about where this feeling is coming from, and process that. And then if I still have the position that I have after doing the fucking work, let me go to this sister who is my friend and bring it to her and say, what you think about this? I had this thought, and at first I was like uneasy about it, but now after some reflection with my people now, after eating a fistful of mushrooms and sitting in my shit for a few hours, now I think I'm in a better place to talk about why this thing made me uncomfortable, and what do you think? I'm gonna tell you, I'm bordering on the position that when the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence is functioning the way that I want it to function, that when we have a building, when we have a process, when we have programs, when it's fully realized, which is sooner than you think, when the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence is fully realized, I can tell you what's going to happen. That you can't have any friends. You can't have any friends. You can have acquaintances, but people get too comfortable. People get too comfortable in that identification. People get too comfortable. And in their comfort, they demote you. In their comfort with you, they demote you. in their familiarity with you, that's my homie, you feel me? In their familiarity with you, they demote you. They demote you. And so these last 3 weeks, it's been happening, man. I can go down the list. I could call names of a literal list of people whose friendships of some time have been dissolved with me because I took a position. Not even, because honey, I ain't even cussed nobody out yet. That's the thing. Motherfuckers talk about a bitch being aggressive. Why are you being so aggressive when you say this and that? This ain't aggressive, baby. This is just powerful. This is just powerful. And y'all hate to see power in Black women. This is just power. Aggressive, I'm telling you, aggressive for me, if I was being aggressive, if I was setting out to, quote, hurt your feelings or some shit, I would be cussing you the fuck out right now. And in the last 3 months of these friends falling off, because see, the thing is with Black people in general, Black women in particular, and I've talked about this a lot in the past, everybody want Black homies. Everybody want Black friends. Everybody want Black sidekicks. Everybody want to be in Blackness de facto, in proximity to Blackness until a bitch got an opinion. Until a bitch got an opinion, until a bitch got some insight, until a bitch got an opinion, y'all want to be friends. The basis of your friendship with Black people is your ability to keep them comfortable, to keep others comfortable. Your ability as a Black person to keep others comfortable. You know what that requires? Your silence. It requires your silence. It requires you keeping your opinion to yourself. It requires complicity. There ain't no other way to say it. It requires complicity. It requires silence. It requires you not have an opinion that is different from theirs. It requires that if they don't see themselves as like the lead in the relationship, they ain't interested. Most people that ain't Black in relationships ain't interested in no equal relationship with Black people, if they're honest. Because at the moment you say some shit that they don't agree with, and you say it forcefully, you say it with some power, oh, now you being aggressive. Bitch, I'm not being aggressive. You didn't see me talk like this about regular shit. But now I'm being aggressive because I don't agree. Because you cannot tell me about me in my disagreement. So now I'm aggressive. Even though we done been friends. Even though I done shown up for you. Even though I done put my hands on you. Even though you done talked on the phone with me to get direction. Now I'm being aggressive. Now I'm being aggressive? This shit is so deep because people think that because you are friends with a Black person, because you are in proximity with a Black person, because you done married a Black person, because you like fucking Black people or whatever, that you are somehow anti-Black. You are still somehow not anti-Black. You are still somehow not anti-Black. And then it shows up in the subtle and the overt ways. And instead of checking yourself, that's not my work to do. Instead of checking yourself, instead of hearing what Black people have to say, instead of hearing what Black women in particular are saying about their experience with you, instead of doing that, instead of doing the work to understand why you are triggered by my facial expressions, instead of doing that, you deflect. Why are you being so aggressive? The fuck? Why are you being mad? Why are you acting like you're mad at me? Excuse me? And at the juncture that I tell you, like, this is how I communicate. You've seen me communicate like this before. Hell, when Black people get together, we communicate the same way. Like, girl, let me tell you what this. We say this shit over and 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 over. So it ain't like you motherfuckers don't know better. It ain't like y'all don't know better. Y'all deliberately play ignorant, like you just don't know. Like you can't hear what Black people have been saying for forever. So I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna build the shit. You understand? But I can tell you, I'm about to have to clear my roster just like the party did. I'm about to have to clear the roster and then re-invite people. And even then, the re-invitation may just be acquaintances. It just might be that. I don't think y'all boy Jesus had no friends. He had acquaintances. He didn't have no friends. He didn't have no homies. He had acquaintances. You know what I'm saying? And I might have to be on that because I'm telling you, at least, let's see. If I was to sit here and count how many people done fell off in the last 2 months, and I cannot be emotionally involved in it. Because when you expose yourself, right? And you expose yourself. See, let me tell you, there are a lot of people that I know here, and I've told y'all this. There are a lot of people that I know here that are younger than I am. And I get it. I know I'm pretty. You know what I'm saying? I know I look good. I get it. You understand? But even though they know, I have a lot of acquaintances here that are younger than I am. 10, 15, some 25 years younger than I am. Some of them my daughter's age. It doesn't dissuade me from befriending people because they're younger than I am. But what I have found more often than not in these relationships is because I am friend to them, there is a way that they equate me to who they are. You feel me? I get that. I get how that can happen, maybe not deliberately. But it's not just that I'm older in space, frequently older in space. And this is the thing that I think I'm always trying to gently remind people of in space with me, that just because I share dinner with you, or because we do things together, or because we are friends, does not mean that I am in my life where you are. So there's still a way that you have to acknowledge, the same way you default would anybody else. You have to acknowledge who I am in this relationship. That I'm not just older than you chronologically. I'm older than you socially. I'm older than you in terms of the fact that I have not only created a human, but I have also been the progenitor of the two humans she created. I not only have raised my child that I gave birth to, but I have at any juncture in my child's childhood and adolescence taken other people's children in when they could not adequately care for their babies at the time. I have 4 degrees, not just 4 degrees, 13 years of school education. 13 years of education. I have 20 years of experience putting my hands on people and changing them. I have 20 years as a deeply involved political activist and revolutionary. We ain't the same. And while we can be friends and doing these things together, you should be aware at any given time that there is a respect that you must show, that you must acknowledge in the fact that I am all the way older than you. In every way, chronologically, socially, historically older than you. And even I would tell you this, even if I didn't have 13 years of education, even if I didn't have 20 years of experience in the medical and healing arts, even if I didn't have 20 years of revolutionary participation in a cadre style organization, even if I did not have any of those, even if I had a 3rd grade education, even if I had never gone to college, Black women deserve the utmost respect from everybody that comes the fucking contact with them. Damn sure do. Damn sure do. Y'all motherfuckers need to learn to act accordingly. Y'all need to learn to act accordingly when you are in the face of fucking God. That's what you need to do. Because if you don't give a fuck about Black women, there is no way possible for you to give a fuck about anything on earth. Any issue, anything, anywhere. You cannot give a fuck about the environment in no real fucking way if you hate Black women. Y'all gonna have to learn. This shit is exhausting. I am tired of being disappointed by people that I'm certain is on point, is up on game. I'm sick of being disappointed by people that I know better. It's exhausting. I ain't got no time for it. Now, if I have to be in here the lone motherfucking cat lady with my little familiars and they my only friends, that'll be sad. But I'm gonna have to be okay with that shit. I'm not gonna say that because I do have friends that are straight riders, that are straight homies. And guess what? They look just like me. I got a Mexican friend here who is a straight rider, a straight motherfucking rider, straight shooter, principled in every way. That's my ace. You feel me? But a lot of y'all who align yourselves with me, a lot of y'all who be like, Cassandra's my friend or whatever the fuck, that friendship is conditional where you are concerned. Where you are concerned, that friendship is conditional. And that's some you work. That's a you issue. It is not my issue. And so I'm tired of being disappointed by people who call themselves my friends. And then when it comes down to it, the issue is always the same. Would this discussion even be a discussion if I was anything other than black and female? And 99.9% of the time, the answer is emphatically no. It's emphatically no. Because motherfuckers want to talk to me about my lane. I don't do that. I don't do that. That's the shit that blows my mind. Your lane is your lane. The things that you have as your expertise, your line of work, your field of expertise, I would not presume to school you on your shit, on what you know, on what your life experiences has afforded for you to be able to know and to teach others. I would never presume to do that. Don't presume to do that. But don't nobody take that same kind of care with us. I heard too many black women say the same. Our lane is our lane, but everybody got an opinion about our motherfucking lane, about our experience, about our area of expertise. No matter how many degrees we got, no matter how many initials we got before or after our name, it don't matter. Somebody with less experience, less expertise, always know motherfucking more than we know. So don't tell me you ain't anti-black. Your behavior is what demonstrates that you are anti-black. Don't mean you don't have black friends that you like or whatever. It just means that your fucking internalized white supremacy is showing its ugly ass face right now. It's uncomfortable in the face of power embodied in black women. That's your shit. That's your shit to solve. It ain't my job to motherfucking teach you. It ain't my job to solve it. It ain't my job to fucking try to reason with you. So that's how I got on that. That's how I got on that. I got on that because, man, Pluto is working her magic, baby. Pluto, aka Oya, is working all the angles, taking her big galactic shovel and digging up all the shit. She digging up all the hidden dirt, all the hidden bones, all your bullshit. She just tossing that shit up to the surface every fucking day. Exposure. Every day. Every time you turn around, every time you turn on the news, exposure. The number one target of said exposure is patriarchy. That's why we're seeing the things that we're seeing, right? That's the primary target. But patriarchy is the great patriarch. And so all of the other isms are his children and grandchildren. And so all of the things are being exposed. That's why I felt it important to do the presentation that I'm going to do tonight, entitled Women of Color Stop Casting Spells on Your Daughters. That's why. It's because the shit that we are seeing in relationship to these fucked up personifications and the relationships between women and their girl children is a byproduct. It's a direct strategy of the patriarchy against women and girls. And we fully participate. We enthusiastically participate in jailing our daughters, in imprisoning our daughters, in destroying their goddamn confidence. We do all that shit as agents of patriarchy. Yes, we do. And then we use the divine power of the mother, which is our voice, to cast spells on our girls when we do that dumb shit. And so that's why. Because if we women, I'm always talking about Pretty Nikki say you might as well go and get started now. And then who is it? Ja Inky Rael says Abraham kidnapping his son from Sarah to kill him for the daddy God. Come on, y'all. Hold on. Let me read some of these comments. Jesus' friends killed him. Yes. I have 5 daughters, no sons, and all my daughters are called aggressive and dominant. 4 of them, their mother is a Leo. My Aquarius daughter's mother is a Cancer. Great mother energy. Come on. Mm-hmm. Somebody, who is it? Miss Carrie said they just want the mother and the maiden. Come on, baby. And mother as destroyer. Listen, all the stories tell you the same thing. Whether it's Sekhmet, whether it's Oya, whether it's Kali, the only way that the world can be radically transformed, the only salvation for the world is mother the destroyer. That's it. She the only one that come through in every last one of these stories. Pele, Sekhmet, Oya, Kali, the list goes on and on. It is only mother as destroyer that can be the progenitor of actual fruitful, harmonious transformation. That's it. So y'all ain't getting nothing from me but the mother as destroyer for right now. Don't mean I ain't gonna be out here living. Don't mean I ain't gonna be out here dancing, cutting up, getting my booty rubbed every now and again. I am still mother the destroyer in this moment right now because my mama say so. Because all y'all says so. That's what she requires of us. And if you are uncomfortable with that, my word is what it always is. What I am creating is directives given to me at the moment that my skull was crowned with my mother's water and blood. That's where my destiny comes from. My destiny comes from my mother. Yes, it does. It comes from my grandmothers, both my grandmothers, my paternal grandmother and my maternal grandmother. Yes, it does. It comes from all the women of my entire line. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It comes from the internal, deep, cellular knowing that is my own blood. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Doesn't mean I'm a dictator. I was telling a homegirl yesterday, I just had a meeting with a bunch of women, like 25 women on the call. And they ain't on no committee or nothing. I said, I just want y'all opinion because y'all women. I have an idea. I think it's an awesome idea, but I know I have a tendency to be heavily ambitious. I do. I get a big idea and I'm like, let's go. I know that I do have a tendency to be overly ambitious. And sometimes I need to click to reel me the fuck in. You feel me? And so I get on this call. I'm like, look, y'all are going to decide whether or not this idea I've been ruminating on is a good idea or is it an example of me being overly ambitious. And I presented the idea and almost everybody on the call was like, I was so disappointed. I was obviously disappointed. My face was like I was hurt. I was like, I just knew the women was going to see the vision. They was going to get it. They was going to be like, yeah, let's go. Right? They didn't. They was like, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. Damn near every woman on the call. I think there was one, maybe 2 women who was like, I think it's a great idea, but the group say, no, don't do that. Tajali said, you were very disappointed. Yeah, I was disappointed. But what did I do? I said, you know what? Y'all right. I'm going to go with the group. You feel me? Let's see. What Petty Nikki say? You might as well go get Tajali say, you tell the truth, Petty Nikki. Let's see. Ja Inky Rael says the crown is the crown. Miss Carrie says we need to add Black exhaustion, Karens, and other threats to Black lives and well-being, a Black women's perspective to the book list. Oh, that sounds like a good one. Email me that, Miss Carrie. Email me that title. releaseheartcenter@gmail.com. Mitochondria, mighty chondria. Oh, nice. That's cute. Yes, you were very disappointed. Yeah, I was disappointed. I just knew y'all was gonna see it. Y'all was gonna be like, yeah, let's go. And it was like, that ain't real. It was like, that ain't real. That can't happen. I was like, all right, cool. Maybe I was being a little bit idealistic. You feel me? And so what am I do? But at the same time that I can call upon the group to say, give me some feedback. Tell me what's what. Am I seeing all the things? I tell y'all all the time when y'all be giving feedback, like, yeah, I didn't even see that. I didn't even notice that. This is what it means to do a mind meld, to put your minds together and fill in the missing pieces, because we can't all think of everything. I do that. But at the same time that I do that, the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence is the brainchild of all of those things I talked about previously. My destiny personified as the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. Y'all have to be comfortable with the face of power in a Black female body. That's what it requires. And what that means is the same reverence you gave old Uncle Tom Preacher all them years, the same respect, unquestioning respect that you gave to Preacher so-and-so all them years, to Professor so-and-so all them years, unquestioning listening, unquestioning paying attention to, unquestioning respect, just because a motherfucker is a professional. All that shit that you have easily done for others, typically with penises, do the same. Have the same respect for me. Have the same reverence for who the fuck I am and what the fuck I have done. Do that. That's your starting point. If it's not a conversation that you would not engage your professor, what y'all be doing? Y'all be doing your graduate program, your PhD program. You got to write your dissertation, and a professor is assigned to you to help you through that process. If you would not have the same, if you would not say it to him or her, if you would not do it to him or her, if you would not state your position in that way to him or her, take that position when dealing with me. God damn it. Do that. That's your starting point. And I ain't going to be as hard on you as they have been. I'm not going to be as hard on you as they have been. I'm not going to require of you what they required of you. The fuck, man? So don't. I'm sick of it. Like, this week was the last straw, man. I'm sick of it. So if it means I gotta wipe the slate clean and fucking delete every motherfucking phone number in my phone book, one-sided friendships, no space for it. No space for it. If you haven't picked up the phone and called me in a year, I'm probably deleting your phone number. If you haven't picked up the phone and called me in 6 months, I'm probably gonna delete your phone number. If I've been the only person to initiate calls, I'm gonna delete your phone number. Like, this shit is this. You all happy when you hear from me, but I ain't in your mind. I ain't in your thought processes. You ain't worried about my health and well-being to just be like, bitch, I'm gonna check up on you, see how you living. Then cool. I'm not gonna be the only one doing that. I'm reading The Crone, Woman of Age, Wisdom, and Power by Barbara Walker. Let's add this to the list too. Email me that, because I didn't even know. I don't even know about that book, and I should. But yeah, today is a new day. We are just 14 or so days from Pluto entering into Aquarius for the first time in 248 years. It is a new motherfucking day. And we better all be new when we walk the fuck up in it, whatever we doing. I know y'all asking me what I'm going to do, for the election and all of that shit. The election to me, I'm telling you, the election to me ain't even causing me to sweat. It ain't even no shit that's occupying any significant brain space in my life. What I am meditating on regularly, what I am obsessing over regularly, is November 19th, when Oya and Shango meet for the first time in 240 years. And what the fuck is going to pop off as a consequence? Y'all distracted. Y'all been talking to y'all for a long time about this reunion between Oya and Shango. I've been talking to y'all for a long time about that shit. Y'all distracted by this bullshitting ass fucking play they putting on November 5th. It's a play, child. It's a play of epic proportion. The personification of the most tragic Greek tragedy that's happening on November 5th. And y'all right in line. Y'all right in line to play right along. That's fine. It ain't gonna be me. So I'll tell you, Tajali, I don't necessarily know that I'm gonna be doing something on November 5th. You asked me, I was like, oh, I don't know. I might do a Zoom. Might do a private meeting. I might do that. But just to be on there talking about the election, no, not me. It won't be me. It will not be me. It will not be me. So I'll probably do something on the 5th, but it might be just like a Zoom conference or something where we just get up on there and talk about witchy shit. You understand? Or we talk about the preparations that we making to pull a jack move on the 19th, whatever that is, wherever we is. You feel me? But I'm telling you, this shit ain't really read the first chapter. Yeah, this shit. I'm trying not to let this shit occupy too much of my brain space. I listen because I need to be up on what's happening. But yeah. Anyway. So I think that's all. An hour and 45 minutes. So I did not meet my goal of 1 hour. But I feel like everything that was said was necessary. I feel like I am not the only one experiencing what I am experiencing, especially in my personal circle and personal relationships. That the nature of America's first Pluto returns is the nature of the Pluto returns, and what she does, what unfolds is not only big, it's not only on the macro, it is right up in here, is right up in us, digging away at the trenches, digging away at the trenches. And as we dig away at the trenches within ourselves, those that are in proximity to us, seeing how our relationship to ourselves is changing, they are responding de facto. And our changes, if they're not doing any work to change, is making their asses uncomfortable and out and out and out. That's what we're experiencing. That's what I'm experiencing. So I'm not angry about the way these relationships have dissolved. I'm not angry. I don't have any grudges. I don't feel any kind of like adverse way about people feeling like they cannot safely be in space with me. Like their feelings are too triggered when they in space. Honey, secure your peace however you need to. Maybe it just may be that you can't have no black friends. You feel me? That might be it. You feel me? Claudia Ankra asks, can we watch a movie with you that day? I love your movie breakdowns. Let me figure out how to do that. I don't even know how to do that. Maybe I can do like a watch party or something. Claudia, email me because that's a great idea. And but I wouldn't know how to facilitate that like virtually. So let's walk me through that and see how that works. And I see your I see your I see your post and I got you. Speaking of movies, this is the last thing I'm gonna say and then I'm gonna be out because I still got to prepare for the rest of the stuff. So let me tell you, the last live that I did, I talked to you about some because I don't even know how they came up, but certain movies came up. It was because I was talking about Charmed and how I've been rewatching the entire program from beginning to end, and I've been watching like one or two Charmed episodes a day. And somebody and I was saying, how Charmed came off of the movie The Craft, and somebody was like, yeah, Craft 2 wasn't really that good, and I was like, yeah, it wasn't that good to me, but I watched it at a different time. And so the day after, I went back and rewatched. I think I had such an attitude about generally like how corny it was and how like poor. I was more technical when I was watching it because the character development was poor. It was like they just rushed it. You know what I'm saying? The history development was poor. The character development was poor. The execution of the plot was lackluster. It was like one of those movies they just make real fast to make some shit. You feel me? So technically, the movie was not good to me. Technically, it wasn't good. However, when I rewatched it, because I was so in my feelings about the technical execution, that I missed a lot of stuff the first time I watched it. I was just like, this is some bullshit. he's trash, whatever, whatever. Child, I went back and rewatched that movie the next day after we did that live. And oh my God, I was like, oh, maybe I need to do a movie review. There was a lot in there that I missed the first time in my disgust. Because first of all, I hate remakes. They're never as good as the original. I don't care how old the original is. They're never, because people are lazy in their execution of remakes. They are. They're never as good. They're never as well executed. And even though they may have like great quote special effects, the special effects don't make up for the shitty acting, the shitty plot, and the plot development, whatever. So I think I was so in my feelings about the technical execution of the movie that I missed some really deep shit that was happening in that movie. There was some deep shit happening in that movie. You feel me? So I went back and rewatched it. And that's one I feel like I need to do a breakdown on. So I know I got a list of them. I know I got a long list that y'all been giving me for a long time. It's been a long time since I've done a movie review. But the Craft remake, or the Craft, is called the Craft Legacy or some shit like that. I was dismayed. I'll be honest. I was dismayed. So that I wanted to let y'all know, because y'all was the one that brought it up. But yeah. And then the other thing is I'm doing this live tonight at 9:00 on Women of Color Stop Casting Spells on Your Children or Your Daughters. If you go into that live, that upcoming live now, because it's up. If you go into that upcoming live, you should still be able to see like the description below. And there are several links that I've put in there. There's a link to an article about the strained relationships between Black women and their daughters. There are links to a couple of movies, and there is two links to a YouTube panel discussion on strained relationships between Black mothers and their daughters, and on mothers and daughters. But there also is a link, the one link that I will encourage you to watch before we go on this live tonight. I just watched this maybe 3 weeks ago. It was an opinion piece. It's long. It's about an hour and 57 minutes, but just speed through it or whatever. There was an opinion piece by this dude on Asian Americans in modern movies, like, Asian Americans in modern movies, right? And the focus of this particular, because apparently he does a bunch of them, but the focus of this particular piece that he did was on the movie The Joy Luck Club, which came out in the early 90s. I don't know how many of you sisters remember The Joy Luck Club, but I know my mama and me and my sister watched it a bunch of times. My mama loved that movie, right? And so I really appreciate it. And he had specialists on the thing, and he's just talking about like the social implications. Yeah, the book, the movie was based on the book, right? And I've never read the book, but the movie we saw like a bunch of times. And it was actually really good commentary. He had 3 or 4 different Asian commentators talk about the movie, the social impact of the movie, the things they got wrong in the movie, the things that they got right, the things that they exaggerated, whatever. It was a really good kind of cultural review and breakdown of the impact of the Joy Luck Club and the history of Asian people in America in movies and cinema. It was really good, because even when we watched the Joy Luck Club as kids, I just remember that there was a lot of overlap in these relationships and how they play out between the women and their daughters, because that's what the whole movie is about, is these relationships among these different women who were all immigrants and their daughters, being born or brought very young to the Americas and having to assimilate into American society, and the strain and the impact that had on the family dynamic, between these mothers and these daughters. There was a lot of shit that Black women could relate to, even Black girls. I was a teenager when I saw that movie the first time, and there was a lot that I could relate to. I felt like this guy's breakdown and review of the Joy Luck Club was really good, really, really impactful. And then there was some other stuff other links that I put in there. So those things you can check out before tonight. I can already tell you that some of the books that we're going to be digging into as reference material for tonight's discussion is going to be all books that I've read on my YouTube channel. So Communion and The Female Search for Love by Bell Hooks. Pure Lust by Mary Daly. Let me just pick up the cover. The Women's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets by Barbara Walker. The Bible, right? What else did I say was going to be on here? The Bible, Myths and Secrets. Oh, The Great Cosmic Mother. The chapter that we're going to be digging into is the chapter called The Machine, which is, it's like the third from the last chapter. And then some other movies that we're going to be talking about, which I should put in the description, is The Discovery of Witches, Agatha All Along, and the Disney movie, The Red Panda. We're also going to be discussing that. Okay. So, I'm going to end there. Yeah, I'm going to end there and get prepared, because in an hour, I'm going to come back and do an hour-long read of Beyond God the Father and Toward the Philosophy of Women's Liberation by Mary Daly. I'm going to do an hour-long read. Then I'm going to take a break, do some other things, and then I'll come back at 9 to do this deep dive into calling on women to stop spell casting on their daughters. So that, let me get my life right for Tajali have a conniption. Let's see. Oh, I thought that was it. Here it is. I, Cassandra Faye Floyd, as a peculiar expression of the Almighty and Divine She, am joining in breath with my family to conspire on behalf of the whole made well. We are breathing these words together to ensure that our home, her body, is restored to her original perfect glory, a glory that is perfect in peace, love, bliss, happiness, and ecstasy. This world exists because we collectively will it so. We are the representatives of the Mother's reign on earth. This beautiful conspiracy is spoken as one cosmic earthly orchestra to guarantee heaven on earth. With the power of my mother and our mothers, we welcome this glorious future into the now. It is as we say, Mommy and I are one. Now I want to say something else. Let me tell you what happened Monday. So I got class on Monday. Oh, sorry, boo. Let me find something. I can't find it. I'm gonna just use this. Okay. So we have class on Monday. Two primary classes, 3 classes on Mondays, right? Child, they being crazy quiet, right? I was just gonna say the same thing, but see, they was in the doghouse earlier, and so now they've been extra careful all day because they was in the doghouse. So anyway, I had my first class is like a performance class on Mondays. So this class is just for people who are in the music department in any capacity, getting their confidence to perform in public up, and all the intricacies that go into what give rise to a stellar performance. So every week, several members of the class will get up and perform whatever piece they're working on. So there's a lot of music majors in this class. There are a lot of people. So people do everything, play piano, guitar, instruments, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Every week, people will get up, present themselves, present their accompaniment, perform, and then receive critique from the classmates. Okay, that's the whole class. So this past week, and then he gives lectures sometimes. So this past week, he was talking about orchestras, the significance of orchestras, and teaching us what goes into conducting, what we're looking at when we see somebody, conducting an orchestra, right? And so he is talking about like how the conductor leads and what it is he is communicating with his hand gestures when he's leading an orchestra, right? But we've been talking about music as a spell, music as spells for a while. There's also some other aspects I'm gonna add to this, but I wanted to go ahead and say it since it was on my mind. Okay, so I just read our conspiracy, right? And what did I tell y'all that a conspiracy etymologically means? Anybody remember? In brief. Anybody want to tell me in the chat box what is the foundational kind of etymological significance of the word conspiracy? Anybody want to tell me? Anybody? I gotta figure out what's that? Share screen? No. Since I'm not using StreamYard anymore, I can't figure out on here how to like invite a guest. Engage your audience. What does that mean? Share a question, start a poll. No. Okay, so y'all, yes, none of what you said is incorrect, but so none of those things are correct. But I'm looking for something more specific. When I did that whole thing on the meaning or the etymology of the word conspiracy, right? And broke it down and talked about its origin and what it literally translates to. So con means with, spire means breath or to breathe, right? Con means with, breath, spire means to breath or to breathe, right? Yes, so lease is the closest. She said to breathe something into life together. Okay, so the etymological meaning of the word conspiracy means to breathe together aloud an oath. To breathe together an oath that guarantees a certain outcome. To breathe together an oath that guarantees a certain outcome. But the example used in the etymology is as in an orchestra. They breathe together to produce a singular sheet of music, a certain result. They're all playing something different, but in the playing of something different together, they are creating a certain as in going to happen, a certain result, right? To breathe together an oath to guarantee a certain result. That's what the etymology of conspiracy means. That's why our conspiracy is the one that I just read, right? So, but the thing that struck me about this and made me remember about class on Sunday is when I was in my senior year of grad school, I had to write a paper in my biology class on trying to simplify the execution of the tasks of all of the endocrine systems to easily explain how the endocrine system works. So like if I was teaching to a group of people who had no background in biology, how could I explain how the endocrine system works? And what I used to do this term paper, and then I presented like I drew on a board what was on the paper. I used the analogy of the orchestra. The orchestra is what I used to demonstrate how the endocrine system works, how all of the endocrine glands and the hormones of the endocrine glands communicate with one another, right? And so I'm in class so there's two references to the orchestra, okay? the definition of the conspiracy, and my senior year term paper in 2014 about easily communicating and explaining how the endocrine system works. Okay. So I'm in class on Monday, and this guy is talking about the orchestra. He is talking about, and then he is specifically talking about the role of the conductor in his relationship with the orchestra. And I'm gonna have to write this down so I don't forget it again. Okay, so we're in here and he's talking about, okay, so what do you know about conductors? And somebody said they have a conductor's wand, right? He's like, that's good. Yeah, absolutely. Some other things, right? They know all the parts. In the book that they're looking at, they know all the parts, right? They see all the things. They see all the movements, right? Whatever. So he picks up his little conductor's wand and he starts waving his hands. And I'm like, oh my God, just that quick. I'm like, oh my God, right? The conductor is leading the orchestra in the same manner that we've always seen in every movie in the last 100 years. The conductor moves and creates in the same way that we've seen every witch and every movie and every story about witches with her magic wand that is intended to focus energy to create or manifest something in the material world, to impact some event, to create some manifestation in the real world. Abracadabra, or what was it called? The Wizard's Apprentice, Mickey Mouse using the magic wand to move the mops to do his work or whatever, right? I was like, okay. So if the word conspiracy means to breathe together, to create a desire to guarantee a certain outcome, and the reference for the etymological meaning of conspiracy is as in an orchestra breathing together to create this music, this singular piece of music, and it is the conductor, because they don't start without the conductor. Horns up. They don't move without the direction. They don't change. They don't decrease or increase their volume without a word from, without a motion from the conductor. The conductor, right? The witch, right? The conductor. Moses, Elijah, Elisha, our tarot cards, the wands, the staffs, right? In our particular deck, the Medicine Woman Guidebook deck, it is what? It is the pipes, right? Taking seemingly boundless abstract energy and focusing with the wand, channeling with the wand, directing the course through the wand for this energy to do what it is it needs to do. And so I have been in the band, a band of some type, since I was 8 years old. Since I was in the 4th grade, I've been playing music, seeing somebody with a wand. Horns up, instruments up, directing every movement to ensure that the piece is perfectly executed, that everybody's on the same accord, that everybody's on the same page, even as they're playing something different, even as their tasks are different, even as their peculiar assignments are different. That which they produce is singular. That which they produce is singular. I was in this class on Monday, like the epiphany fell like a lead bomb. The conductor is a magician. The conductor is the producer of conspiracy. Woo! The conductor is the producer of conspiracy. As a matter of fact, the conductor guarantees that the conspiracy is adequately executed. Ooh! They could play the piece without a conductor, but without him holding them together, because he sees all the plays. He knows all the sheet music. He has the entire map laid out before him. He has the grand view. He has the big view. Each person has their own particular objective that they have to fulfill. They don't know what the next person is playing. They don't even know what the person next to them is playing. Everybody's sheet music is different. It is the conductor that ensures that through directing each part, each piece, each person with his magic wand, that the conspiracy is fulfilled in the end. That everybody's role. Who come on in the room, Tajli? Tajli say the band is a coven. Yes. 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 Come on in the room, Tajli. Yes, baby. Yes. Okay. Honey, let's see. The conductor can also be the material for energy to flow, like the copper. Absolutely, yes. Now, let me tell you, this is probably a discussion for another day, but why did my orchestra analogy for my senior year term paper come up? Is because the endocrine system isn't a bunch of organs on their own. The endocrine system really is more greatly responsible for our emotions than any other system in our body. The endocrine system, which is what produces all of our hormones, is responsible not only for, our hormonal responses to whatever, external stimuli, internal stimuli, whatever. It is also the output in response to external stimuli is typically what we describe as emotions. The endocrine system is responsible for that largely, okay? And so when we're talking about the endocrine system and its functions directly correlate to what we call the chakras. The chakras are just a pretty name for the very real function of the endocrine glands, okay? Every endocrine gland is directly associated with the function of a chakra, of one of the 7 chakras, okay? And so the role that the hypothalamus plays is as the conductor. It is the hypothalamus that perceives through our eyes or through our nose, through our external senses. It is largely our external senses that relay certain messages to the hypothalamus, that then the hypothalamus alerts different endocrine glands how to respond. Or the hypothalamus is also processing the blood all the time, all the hormones in the blood, to say, okay, this hormone is deficient, so we need this hormone to increase production or decrease production to make sure that this hormone comes back into balance. It is the hypothalamus that's always monitoring our internal environment and our external environment, primarily through our external senses and our corresponding internal senses, to help our endocrine system understand in an instant how to respond to these stimuli. And it is the hypothalamus that becomes identifiable as the conductor for this grand orchestra called the chakra system, i.e. the endocrine system. Anyway, that's that. So now I'm done, okay? I'll see y'all in 45 minutes for the reading. I hope that was helpful. I hope that illuminated you the way it did me, because that shit was like, oh my God. I'd never even thought about it. I'd never even made the correlation that the motherfucking band conductor, the musical conductor, the orchestral conductor are witches. They're wizards. They're the facilitators of conspiracy is what they are. They are spell casting. That's what they're doing. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so hopefully that was helpful and received as awesome as I received it. You feel me? But anyway, 45 minutes, I'll be back for the reading of Beyond God the Father and Toward a Philosophy of Female Liberation. You feel me? And so today is going to be a day of days. 3 lives I'm doing in one day because I know I've been slipping on the game. You feel me? I got you. I'll be back. This is Cassandra Faye Floyd, also known as the Daughter of the Fates. Email me if you have any questions, need a reading, want to make a donation, whatever. releaseheartcenter@gmail.com. Peace. In spring.